Okay, welcome back to Jennifer Lauer Tutoring. Today I'm going to explain my math classes and what I offer, and then if you decide that you want to try one out, I'm going to have specifics for each class that I'll send you once you've registered. So first of all, I teach from 6-5, which is an accelerated 5th grader, all the way down to Calc 2. Their calculus book covers 1 and 2. So if you're interested in anything, you could be a 5th grader, a 6th grader, a 7th grader, 8th grader. If you really don't know where your student places, you've never used Saxon curriculum before, you could just send me a quick email, which you can find below, and I'll send you a placement test. But just know once they hit the upper levels, I don't really go by the placement test as much, and I'll explain why in just a minute. So first of all, let me explain why I use the Saxon curriculum. Saxon kind of gets a bad name, and I know why, but I kind of remedy that. So first of all, Saxon is an incremental approach. So every lesson, they're going to build just a little bit more, and there's not going to be a huge introduction of some crazy new concept each lesson. So I like that. The next thing I like it is it's spiral, and what that means is the lesson isn't just covering what you just learned, it's covering review from Algebra 1, and then by the time you get to the end of Algebra 2 or whatever class you're taking, you still remember what you learned in the beginning. And that's super important because that's real life. That's when you get to college, they're not going to just give you one concept. You're going to have to know multiple concepts. And so I really believe it prepares you not only for college, but the ACT or the SAT and any kind of real world math. Problems with Saxon. It is not teacher friendly at all. I mean, when I taught through it, I never had my kids read the lessons. I just taught the math the way I teach math. So I can understand why parents don't like it. So, because sometimes I even read the lessons, and I've taught math for a very long time, and I don't understand what they're talking about. Sometimes for giggles, I'll read their lesson. So anyway, I understand that it's not teacher friendly, but that's where I come in. So what I've done is I've gone through all of these wonderful Saxon textbooks, and I've taught it my way. I've taught it what I call by monkey math. So what I do is I break it down to the easiest possible way for a student to do it, the most efficient, the quickest way. I teach them quick math. You want them to learn how to do fast math. So when they hit those ACTs and SATs where they're timed, they can do things more efficiently. So I really, really do like Saxon, and I take care of that by doing these pre-recorded video lessons. In some classes I do live depending on the need and my availability. I will do some live classes over Discord when it comes to math. But for the most part, what I do is just teach through the lesson, and then the students apply what I've taught them. They take notes, work through the lesson with me. I tell them to use a reference card and different things that I'll get into more specifics when you choose which class you would like to take. The other problem we see with Saxon is there's so many problems. There's like 120 problems a week. And so parents try to do a thing where they're like, well, you can do every other problem. That doesn't work. If you go every other problem, you're not getting the spiral, you're not getting the review you need. So another way I remedy that is when I teach the class, I teach through 2 lessons a week. What that means is the student is doing every problem on 2 of the 4 lessons they have a week, or 2 of the 5 lessons, depending on the class, or 1 of the 3 lessons. And again, that's a little bit more specific for when you want to figure out what you want to take. So, why does everybody hate math? We've all been at the kitchen table with our student who's crying over it. My oldest did not like math at all. I think I tried every curriculum out there, and I ended up coming back to Saxon. It's just, it's so full, and it covers all the basics, and you don't come away from it not knowing things and missing certain blocks. I hate that, because a lot of times when you jump from curriculum to curriculum, you're going to have missing blocks in there. Saxon comes in and fills in all those missing blocks. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Remember, math is the great divider. So many people give math a bad rep, but if you learn it the correct way and you do it daily and you do it consistently, that doesn't mean you do 1 lesson a week. It means you actually stick to the correct schedule and you get through it. And that's really where I come in, and I just take a hold of things and try to make it easier on the parent. So I try to show them that math isn't as bad as they think it is. And I'm there to answer questions, for tutoring, and just all the different things that I offer, which I'm about to get into. a lot of times the concepts are really hard to understand. So what I do is, again, I break it down to the easiest possible steps. So if you are new to one of my classes and you're worried about coming into Algebra 1, what if they have missing blocks? I take each problem in Algebra 1 as if they had never seen it before. So I really don't come in thinking, oh, well, they know how to factor or they know how to do long division with polynomials. I don't ever think that. I break it down as if they had never seen it before. So we're homeschoolers. How do you do this without being there with them every day? So what I have done is, because Saxon is incremental, in the beginning of the week, I go 4 lessons up. So, and again, it depends on the curriculum, or not the curriculum, it depends on the level, but because some of them I go 5 up, some of them I go 3 up, depending on how hard they are. The earlier classes are gonna go 5 up, but so I will start your student out on day 1 with lesson 4, and they will watch my pre-recorded lesson and they will listen to me, volume up, working the problems with me. If I go too fast, they can push pause. They will work through those with me. Then on Tuesday, the very next day, instead of again being off on their own, they're going to work another full lesson with me. Again, writing everything out. If I say put it on the reference card, that means you put it on a reference card. I have some people who just keep a nice clean piece of paper with formulas on it. I make no memorization. It's hard enough to do math without having to memorize a bunch of formulas. So I want you to make sure you have those formulas with you, or you have a place in the book you can go to. A lot of kids would use the little tabs and mark where the formulas were. The back of some of the books have the formulas in there. So there's no memorization with me. So then when they get to Wednesday and Thursday, they're going to do a couple of lessons on their own. So they'll do, if they did 4 and 3 with me at the beginning of the week, then they'll do 2 and 1. So that now they've done the hardest with me. So they're not going to be looking at anything they haven't already covered. Then the following week, you have to jump to 8. And then you would do video lesson 8 with me and video lesson 7 with me, and then 6 and 5 on their own. And then on Fridays, a test. Now, what I'm explaining right now is your typical Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Math 8-7. But if you're in one of the younger grades, like 6-5 or 7-6, it's going to be 5 up. And if you're in the upper grades, it's going to be 3 up. So what I've done now is I've made it to where the student is not doing so much work each week. He's still being taught, but he's working through the lesson. If any of you have used Saxon before, they have the lesson, then they have the practice set, then the problem set. No, I just do the problem set with them, and I teach as I go, just making sure that they need to take notes and things like that so they can keep that around. Okay, so the classes I offer, again, are Math 6-5, Math 7-6, Math 8-7, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Advanced Math. Okay, so a lot of people get confused on this. So Saxon was actually genius, if you ask me. He took geometry and what they used to call Algebra 3, yes, that's a thing, and pre-calculus and trig, and put it into this one textbook. Now, I don't think students need a separate geometry course. If you look at just the stats, if you look at the world, nobody brings geometry out as a separate course except the United States. And we're 3rd from the bottom in math, if that tells you anything. They all use just advanced math or high school level math. And the reason that is because if you think about what geometry is, it's algebra with a formula. So why would you give your student Algebra 1, take them out, put them in geometry, which deals completely with shapes, you completely lose your algebra, and then expect them to go back to Algebra 2? That's not how I run these classes. What's great about the older Saxon books, and again, you have to be careful, it's hardcover Saxon, not softcover. The new ones I do not use, I use the hardcover. Saxon does geometry throughout their whole math career. So I do call Advanced Math 1 geometry, and the only reason I do that is because when you go to do a transcript, a college wants to see geometry in the United States. Now, if they get a transcript from another country, they never see geometry and they expect to not see geometry. But in the United States, they have to see geometry on there. So, Advanced Math book, Saxon is a 2-credit book. A lot of people don't realize that. It's a 2-credit book. If you read in the beginning, he talks about it's a 2-credit book. You can split it up into 2 years, or you can take it as a combo course which I offer both. So I would count the first credit as geometry, the second credit would be your pre-calculus. So you can do it in, like, you could do half the book in 1 year if they're not real strong with math, and the second half in their next year. So let's say they did Algebra 1 their freshman year, they could do Algebra 2 their sophomore year, and then this book would take them through their junior and senior year. Now, if you want them to go a little faster, maybe they really enjoy math, then you could do advanced math in 1 year. You just have to start a little bit sooner. So you would get both credits in 1 year. And really, for my students that were going into STEM fields, that's what I do recommend, as long as they're comfortable with Algebra 2. You don't want to come out of Algebra 2 wobbly. You want to make sure you are mastering your tests. The next thing we get to is calculus. This is the #1 rated textbook for preparing for the AP test. It's 148 lessons. Again, a 2-credit book. This counts as Calc 1 and Calc 2. For you to get through both of those before your senior year is over, you usually have to do the combo classes for both. But I do offer just calculus or just Calc Combo. Now, the benefit of Calc Combo is that, again, it kind of opens their eyes to Calc 1 and Calc 2. Plus, if they're even considering taking the AP exam, maybe to CLEP out of, or try to get an exam out of the college work, you're definitely going to have to do the whole book. So, if you need to know, again, which class is right for your student, you would just send me an email. I can send you a placement test. I might actually put a couple up on my website. I'll have my daughter do it, who runs my website, just so you can click on them and see. I'll put middle school ones and I'll put high school ones, and that way you don't even really have to contact me if you don't want to. Again, I do call Advanced Math 1 Geometry, but please understand it's not a separate geometry course. It just, that's what we call it, but geometry is throughout all of the Saxon textbooks. It's even pretty heavy in Algebra 2. I'd love to see a 2-credit for that one, but they're not going to do that. And I think that's about it for my classes, for my math classes. Again, if you're on my website, what you're going to do is just click on classes. Again, you'll see what I have to offer. You can hit the contact us, and if you have any questions, you can contact us through that. And if you have any questions, all feel free to email me, which again, I'll link below. And have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you soon.